Thank you for being with us. Just would like to look at your paragraphs on how technology can help. The first paragraph, you mentioned that outright blocking of site domains known for publishing fake news may be prone to a lot of false positives. Could you please elaborate on that?
Okay.
Thank you.
So there are, when I was talking about some identifiers on the technology level, like IP addresses or where they're coming from, or even just the URL, we have, if proven that these platforms or these sites are spewing falsehood information, they can be blocked, meaning to say that it prevents anyone from visiting them. And it's almost like trying to stop the bleeding at some point. So that's the blocking mechanism. The most ideal blocking mechanism is happening on the ISP level, right? So for instance, in our industry, we have the capability to block it, but when we say block it, it is only blocking the people who are using our product. So that's a very small percentage. The more effective one is using ISPs, especially they are major ISPs providers, so that they can block it also on their site. So there's more users who are more protected because they have bigger bases.
Okay, thank you. And also, in relation to your point about the use of AI to help flag out fake news and bot-generated news, again, I think we could agree that AI alone could not flag out all fake news. So it's something that could possibly be used, but again, as a complementary tool rather than a preeminent. Would you say so?
Yes, ma'am. So I think they can be used on the level of censor, providing censor, but you're correct. The next one is who will validate that censor and take action.
Yes. And so if we were, I'm not sure about the level of technology at this moment, but how do you think we could persuade content distributors to act responsibly in embedding or blocking fake information?
I would go back to the initial recommendation earlier of carefully studying the online behavior techniques and tactics that are widely being used, and to counter that with the ability for them to detect it, so that there will be a way for them to be able to understand whether they are potentially going to spew or distribute fake news. The second one is probably put levels of severity, warning, not just on the distributor, but also on the user perspective, right? So that they can be intelligently be guided whether to proceed or otherwise, right? However, I have to really admit that, again, we will go back to that debatable statement of whether who are we to say whether which one is true or otherwise, right? So on the technology level, I'm just really bearing forth the fact that there are driven behavior and techniques that are already widely used. So if we can just use that as censor, then that will probably help in the detection capability of delivering fake news or otherwise.
Yeah, but if I begin with a confirmation bias, if I am already only interested in reading what I want to read, then how likely do you think I would take heed to a warning that, this website is known for generating fake news?
It will go back to the challenge and the burden to the readers themselves. So I think it is really on how we could allow them to understand the real world impact of reading such information. But as I said, end of the day, it will be that user who would push the button or otherwise. So our role in the organization, for me, the role really is providing more ways to detect it so that they can control it. But at the end of the day, the responsibility rests with the user whether to proceed or otherwise. And I'm so sorry that I may not have a very strong response on how to, do that.